The Supreme Court just handed Donald Trump a sledgehammer and pointed it straight at the Department of Education. In a crushing 6-3 decision, they ruled that Trump can fire 1,400 bureaucrats immediately, and that is just the start. Education Secretary McMahon confirmed more cuts are coming as entire divisions get transferred or eliminated. And of course, right on cue, the left is having a complete meltdown. One fired staffer admitted on camera that the ruling made her extremely angry. But here's what they won't tell you. Since this department was created in 1979, we spent trillions for worse results. Literacy collapsed. Test scores tanked. Woke ideology replaced actual education. Now Trump's doing what should have been done decades ago. The education's establishment worst nightmare has just begun. So keep watching. We've got all the details. And while Trump dismantles the failed Department of Education, we need to educate ourselves about another crisis, America's bee population. You know how food costs have skyrocketed, but have you considered your natural food chain? The good people at Patriot Bee Best have done extensive research about this critical issue, and they've created an educational online digest spreading awareness about challenges that are facing American bees. Patriot Bee Best is a digital bee sanctuary for education, engagement, and real change. These veteran-owned patriots are laser-focused on restoration of both bee populations and our American republic. And for less than 17 cents a day, you can support this show and bee restoration. Check out patriotbeebest.com to subscribe, donate, and catch the buzz. Join the Hive with promo code NEXTNEWS for 25% off, and we thank them for their sponsorship of this program at patriotbeebest.com. You'll find it linked in the description. Now, our cameras were there at the White House today. President Trump taking a victory lap before he boarded Marine One. Let's go to that moment.
Out of it. We had a big win with the Supreme Court on the Department of Education. We want, as you know, we want to bring education back to the states, take the federal government out of it. A little tiny bit of supervision, but very little, almost nothing. Like to make sure they speak English. That's about all we need. We had a big win with the Supreme Court.
Make sure they speak English. Supreme Court voting 6-3 to allow President Trump to move forward with the purge of the Department of Education. The purge is coming. Here is the ruling. Sotomayor dissenting, of course. Supreme Court of the United States, Linda McMahon, Secretary of Education. Yeah, baby, let's go. Okay, let's listen in here. Adult education, Gunter Eagleman. Adult education is now being taken over by the Department of Labor after the Supreme Court gave the Trump administration the green light to continue dismantling the Department of Education. So, portions going to the Department of Labor. Yet another area of the Department of Education is being dismantled. More winning. Let's listen to how CNN spun this.
Do that. And with such a... Well, Dana, this is essentially a green light. All systems go for the department to start winding down the agency. That, of course, is President Trump's stated goal. And it's worth looking at the numbers. 4,100 workers at the start of this year at the Department of Education. That is going to be cut in half with this Supreme Court ruling saying that the administration can go forth and do that. And with such a massive reduction, of course, education experts are raising major red flags and really setting off the alarms on how the agency can carry out its duties. So it's worth going back and looking at what exactly the agency does and what it does now. Now, the agency does dole out billions of dollars in federal grants and funding to K through 12 schools. It manages federal student loans. It investigates discrimination through the Office of Civil Rights. It researches reading and math levels, providing important data points on education systems that are in place and if they're working. It does not in any way dictate curriculum. It doesn't set it. It doesn't tell teachers in schools what to teach or certify teachers. And it does not establish graduation requirements. Those are all set in school and local school boards at the state level. It's also worth remembering here, Dana, as well, that the Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, she has been very clear that these reductions in staff, they're just one part of the larger changes she wants to see to the department. They will move many of the functions to other departments, SBA taking over student loans, special ed, HHS, and today, just a few hours ago, Dana, they announced Department of Labor will take over adult education, so effectively breaking apart, moving the functions to other agencies to effectively dismantle their own.
Yeah, I mean,
well done, President Trump. Congratulations. A well-deserved victory. CNN even forced to report the news. Dana Bash, I'm sure, is heartbroken. Let's see what else is going on. Okay. Vince Langman writing, Supreme Court just said it's legal for President Trump to dismantle the bloated Department of Education. And this Karen claims it's not legal because she knows better than the Supreme Court. All right, let's go to Karen.
Nearly 1,400. Trump just got the green light to start dismantling the Department of Education. The Supreme Court let this happen, and no, this is not legal. SCOTUS lifted an injunction today that was basically blocking Trump from dismantling the Education Department. That means now he can lay off nearly 1,400 workers, dismantle core programs, and shift responsibilities like student loans or special education. But let's be clear, because abolishing a federal department...
No, let's be clear, Karen. You said shifting responsibilities. You made it sound like it was a bad thing. You see, they're simply moving the responsibility to another department. You made it sound bad and dirty. We know your game. Call the manager.
Need an act of Congress in order to do that. And Trump is trying to do this through executive power alone, something the law does not allow. This isn't just dangerous, it is unconstitutional. 3 justices on the court tried to stop this, mind you. They not only disagreed with this decision, but they even stated that doing this opens up the door for Trump to go in and do things illegally. And because he has the green light, he can strip down the Department of Education before the courts can legally say, hey, you're not allowed to do this. But this is how it happens. Rights don't disappear overnight. They chip away at them while we are busy. And I'm not saying this is all over because it's not. But as someone that has a special needs kids, I'm not going to lie. I don't know what I'm walking into in the fall, and that is fucking scary. Trump just got the green.
You know what you got to do? Just call the Department of Labor. No, actually, they said, what was the Department of Labor? It was HHS. That's where you go now. You don't call the Department of Education if you have a problem. You call HHS. I'm sure you love RFK Jr. too. Regardless, let's see what else is in the hopper. Uh-oh, what's this? Another leftist having a meltdown. Ha ha! Another Karen. Oh, yeah. She looks angry. Oh, look at her gritting her teeth. Oh, wiping her brow. She's screaming into the camera. She's sitting in her car in Costco, right? Oh, my God!
Over 1,000 Department of Education? Really? Yes. The Supreme Court just ruled that the Department of Education can continue to be dismantled by Trump. I have such a thing with the Department of Education. Like, it's so important. And people don't realize how much it's going to affect public schools in this country.
Oh, how much?
Over 1,000 people are losing their jobs, okay? For
No. 1,400 to be exact, honey.
one thing, and it's the checks and balances that's being taken away. You know how you keep people voting for you? You keep them stupid. Because education, the most educated people are Democrats. For a reason. Y'all are...
Oh, look at the face. Look at the teeth. I can see it foaming in the mouth.
nuts. Department of Education, you know how you keep people voting for you? You keep them stupid. Because education, the most educated people are Democrats. For a reason. Y'all are nuts. Department of Education,
Oh, my
really?
God. That was gold. Okay. John Stossel enters the chat. The Supreme Court gave Trump the green light to keep dismantling Department of Education. He says, good. For the federal department is largely useless. It doesn't educate a single child, and here's why we don't need it. Let's give John Stossel the mic.
Loan payments.
We will put an end to Joe Biden's illegal student loan bailout attempts.
This administration's telling students, repay your loans. What a concept. If you borrow money, you have to pay it back. The previous administration said, you can let it slide.
The Biden administration is once again extending a pause on federal student loan payments.
You could miss payments and it wouldn't be reported to the credit bureaus.
Not anymore.
You must start to repay your loan.
Linda McMahon is the new education secretary. She tells students,
there isn't going to be any loan forgiveness program.
Good. College students don't deserve loan forgiveness. But I have a conflict here because I don't much like Linda McMahon. I once sued her and her sleazy husband, Vince, because of something they did to me at one of their silly pro wrestling shows. In 1984, I was doing a 2020 report on how pro wrestling is staged. And the promoters then allegedly told one of their giant employees, someone should take care of that guy.
I think this is fake.
You think it's fake? What's that? Is that fake? Huh? What the hell's wrong with you? That's open hand slap, huh? You think it's fake? You come like this face?
So now I'm surprised to support Linda McMahon because now she says forgiving loans isn't fair.
There's no such thing as loan forgiveness. It just gets transferred to someone else, and that's just not fair.
It's not. It means taxpayers, many of whom never went to college, are stuck with the bill.
A guy who's a welder and a guy who's a truck driver, they shouldn't have to pay off your student loan debt.
Hey, ho, ho! Student debt has got to go!
Student activists say, we're special. We shouldn't have to pay our debts.
They can go to hell because I'm not going to pay it.
Fewer than 4 out of 10 borrowers are in repayment.
Now the Trump administration says if you don't pay,
that could mean wage garnishment or money withheld from tax refunds and Social Security benefits.
About time. College students don't deserve special handouts, and neither do rich colleges. Look at this library. Colleges got away with raising tuition much faster than inflation because taxpayers paid the bill.
The more the federal government was involved in loans and grants for students, the more tuition increased.
The first thing you're struck by is our jungle lobby, banyan trees.
Colleges chase this taxpayer money by offering ridiculous perks.
In-house day spa. Students will come to us and say, this is what sealed the deal. It used to be reading, writing, and arithmetic. And well, we're now the 4th R, recreation.
It's about time our government stopped funding luxuries like that. And
yeah, I'd say. How about that slap, though? Who knew? All right, check this out. Oh, we got Wolf Blitzer on the case, talking to a lady who is one of the 1,400 bureaucrats who are being fired from the Department of Education. Okay, let's listen to her.
Without even explaining emotions, Wolf. First one is disappointment. I'm a lawyer by trade and live for Supreme Court decisions, at least to have reasoning. So, to have the 6 justices just allow this to happen without even explaining their decision is extremely disappointing. Then I go into anger. Anger since the beginning of this administration by the misrepresentation about what we actually do. There's so many statements about returning education to the states. But Wolf, I was a teacher. Education curriculum, teacher quality testing has always been with the states. What our department does and did was fund school districts, fund colleges, fund schools, and fund American citizens who are pursuing their education. And it is extremely anger-inducing that this misrepresentation of what we do and how important our work is.
So which stage of grief do you think she's in right now?
Perpetuating, and it's not being corrected even by the highest court of our land. And then,
I mean, look at her eyes. It looks like she's been crying. Yeah, you can see the mascara. Sad. But they shouldn't have had the department to begin with.
Then I go to sadness. I'm a recipient or product of.
Wait, what are the stages of grief? Let's take a look. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Okay.
Title I schools. I'm a recipient of Pell Grants. And I think about there will not be future me's. People who are coming from working class families who want a different way of life, who want to improve their life choices through education. This administration is making it harder. We're already seeing that because they have dismantled or laid our people off. School districts, Title I schools are not getting the grants that they need. Colleges are not getting the medical research that many people depend on. College students are not getting financial aid at all because our people are out of work. And the students that are at schools currently are not receiving the protections of the Office for Civil Rights to make sure that our tax dollars, that schools that receive our tax dollars are doing right by them.
I've heard enough. Go find the unemployment line. Supreme Court siding with Trump gives green light to continue massive purge at the Department of Education. Massive loss for left-wing activists. Huge win for the children. And what's this about?
That's it, man. Don't be surprised when you sit to that hurts to say. And we undermining. Don't be surprised when you.
And that war is over. And we won. If you got value from this report, hit subscribe. My final thought is next. The Supreme Court decision isn't just about firing bureaucrats. It's about who controls your children's minds. For 46 years, the Department of Education has been a money-burning failure factory. John Stossel said it best. They don't educate a single child. They don't. They just push paper and propaganda while literacy rates crater. Now, Trump is transferring adult education to the Labor Department where it belongs. He's returning power to parents and states. The family unit is reclaiming its rightful place. And the leftists crying on TikTok, they're not mad about education. They're mad about losing control. These are the same people who push critical race theory and gender confusion instead of reading and math. So here's the question. Should the entire Department of Education be abolished 100%? Yes or no? Fire away in the comments. Because our kids deserve better than federal indoctrination. And hit up our merch shop below, link down below, where your support for real education reform. Pick your favorite member of the administration with our American Badass series, or if you want to help us expose the auto pen conspiracy, you can do so with a laugh with our President Auto Pen shirt. Or if you want to support Alligator Alcatraz, well, there's a shirt for that too. Go find your favorite, wear it with pride, and support the Next News Network in doing so. Linked down below at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com.